Hello? If you invest with us now, you'll definitely get rich. Wait, hold on. I'm not here to get you to invest. I'm just here to tell you that the sentence I just said is actually the key message, the main point that so many people have used to create strategies for building pyramid schemes. And they've succeeded countless times, leading to global-level pyramid schemes and causing massive, widespread damage. There's actually one business in particular that it's a lot like a pyramid scheme since the patterns match, pyramid schemes and direct sales. In this video, I'll break it down and show the difference between the two. We'll talk about how pyramid schemes and direct sales businesses are different, where exactly the line is drawn, and I'll also share a case study. We'll look at a pyramid scheme that became hugely successful and went global before crashing down to rock bottom. How did that happen, and what went on behind the scenes? Stay tuned for all of this on Sai Money Monster. And for this video, we've set a rule: absolutely no sponsors allowed. That way, we can have a straightforward, honest, and clear discussion that gets right to the point. If anyone wants to support the information in this video, you can do so via this QR code right here. But if you're not able to scan the QR code, that's totally fine. All I ask is that you watch until the end, and if you or someone you care about can avoid falling victim to a Ponzi scheme just by sharing this information, that alone would make me really happy. It's actually very easy for anyone to become a victim of a Ponzi scheme, or what's called a Ponzi game in English. It's really easy. Why is that? Because the people who are able to run Ponzi schemes, the ones who become the heads of these schemes, have to possess a special skill set. First, they need to have leadership qualities. Second, they must be able to build credibility. Or third, they have to be able to create a very convincing image of credibility. Honestly, anyone who wants to lead a Ponzi scheme has to be extremely skilled in these areas. I'll share a case with you in a moment. This happened in the real world, a major case. Once you hear it, you'll clearly see the pattern of how Ponzi schemes work. Let's start with this person, Bernie Madoff. He was a financial criminal, the biggest Ponzi schemer in world history. His scheme caused damages worth up to $65 billion, or about 2.2 trillion baht. And he managed to keep it going for 17 years without anyone suspecting a thing. Madoff was able to pull this off because he had once been the chairman of the Nasdaq stock exchange. Yes, the Nasdaq, the home of all those spectacular American tech stocks. And he was the chairman of Nasdaq, so who wouldn't trust him? Back in 1960, Madoff founded his own company, a securities trading firm called Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities. Madoff himself served as the company's chairman, and his firm went on to... He earned a lot of trust and became extremely popular among investors thanks to his own credibility. Madoff was one of the most respected figures on Wall Street during that era. And what investors loved most was that the returns were good and pretty consistent. Madoff even promised that anyone who invested in his securities firm would get a 14% annual return, which is a lot. Everyone just assumed, well, Madoff must be... Investors thought he must be an incredibly skilled trader, right? But the reason Madoff was able to pay out 14% returns so consistently wasn't because he was a great trader. He didn't even use the investors' money to buy stocks. He just took money from new investors to pay the old ones, that's all. So whenever someone new joined, their money would be passed up and up and up to the people at the top. That's the pattern. Madoff was right at the very top of the pyramid, wasn't he? Then he would find more people to invest, forming the second layer of the pyramid. This is still called the early gang. And then he'd keep finding more and more people to invest, so it ended up looking like a pyramid. The number of new people joining kept increasing, right? Because it's the base of the pyramid, so the money just kept getting passed up and up and up. Madoff did this. His pyramid scheme went on like this for 17 years, and he ended up with a total of $65 billion, or as I mentioned before, about 2.2 trillion baht. 17 years went by, and no one suspected a thing. But as Madoff's era ended, people grew suspicious. They wondered, Madoff isn't buying or selling stocks or making investment profits, so where is the money coming from? Some figured out it was a Ponzi scheme. He was paying old investors with new ones' money without actually investing it. There was no real investment generating profits, none at all. Any so-called profits were just money from new investors being used to pay the old ones. Madoff was finally caught on December 11th, 2008. After that, he spent the rest of his life in prison until he passed away at the age of 82. The main people who exposed Madoff were actually his own sons, both of them. One of his sons even held a position helping out in his father's company, so he had to serve a prison sentence of up to 10 years. His other son chose to end his own life after his father and brother were convicted. Then there's another major case, which is also a really big one, and you could say it actually didn't happen all that long ago either, is the case of Ruja Ignatova, formerly known as the Crypto Queen. OneCoin, the infamous founder of the project. Did anyone here happen to get personally involved during that era? Looking at Ignatova, she was the one who tricked people into investing in her coin called OneCoin, making off with as much as $4 billion, or about 140 billion baht. The concept she pitched was that
she once said, "Who is able is to be the best kind of leader."
She claimed it would be a revolution in finance and that it would be even bigger than Bitcoin. At the time, people believed that the OneCoin ecosystem, or its way of making money, was through selling courses. They really did sell these courses. OneCoin sold courses to people who invested, with prices ranging from 100 euros all the way up to over 100,000 euros. But then people started to notice something fishy about these courses that OneCoin was selling. The courses themselves weren't really high quality. People bought them out of belief. But it turned out that most of the content was actually taken from educational materials that were already available online for free. In reality, selling courses was just one part of the OneCoin ecosystem. The main thing was that Ruja Ignatova wasn't really focused on getting people to buy the courses that much. What she really wanted was for people to believe in OneCoin, that this OneCoin token would make everyone who became a member and invested rich. If anyone actually took the time to dig a little deeper into OneCoin back then, they would have noticed some suspicious things. For one, OneCoin used a closed blockchain. A blockchain they claimed was private, not an open blockchain like others. It was supposedly a blockchain, but it was a self-made private blockchain, and no one really knew if it was a real blockchain or not. That's the first suspicious thing. The second is that OneCoin claimed you could exchange OneCoin for euros, but there were strict limits. Each day there was a quota for how much OneCoin could be exchanged, and whether you could exchange it also depended on how much you had invested. So if you were a small investor, you could only exchange a tiny amount. But if you were a big investor, you could use a much larger quota, meaning you could exchange a lot more OneCoin for euros. Of course, all under their own rules. And the third point is about how they promised profits. This third method of dividing things up, it broke every rule of economics and finance. There was one day, when they organized a OneCoin event.
Please, I'm begging you. Thank you so much. And then
So I announced on stage that from now on, I'm gonna increase the number of OneCoin coins by 50 times.
The athlete Vinamo Vinichagro?
Increased by another 50 times. Okay, if it were today, if I heard that someone was going to increase the number of coins by 50 times, I'd probably be thinking, wow, how much would the coins be worth then? But that day, they said they were going to increase the number of coins by 50 times, and every single new coin would still have the same value. Is there really a rule like that? Economics where the quantity increases but the value stays the same? And that day, they even said on stage that for every member who holds OneCoin, who invested in OneCoin, and whoever has however many OneCoins, they would double the amount of OneCoin in every single wallet.
Double the coins, new records.
Yeah, the whole hall cheered. But like I said, her way of paying dividends breaks every rule of economics and finance. It just can't be real. So it comes back to the point that, yes, OneCoin by Ruja is basically just a classic Ponzi scheme, because Ruja, who's at the top of the pyramid, gets people to invest, and then more and more people keep investing. Even though they were selling courses, those courses didn't actually generate that much income. And honestly, the quality wasn't that great either. The main focus was just to get people to believe and keep bringing in more investors, layer by layer, making the pyramid bigger and bigger. As long as the pyramid kept growing, with new people joining and more money coming in, there was enough cash to pay the early investors at the top. But once people started to catch on and there were no new investors coming in at the base, the whole Ponzi pyramid started to collapse. This is another example of the same thing. Basically, everything that Ruja Ignatova ever said or promised, all those dreams she sold, turned out to be fake. The only thing that was real was the massive amount of money lost, over $4 billion. And to this day, Ruja Ignatova has disappeared without a trace. All that's left are the people still chasing after her. And if we're talking about cryptocurrency Ponzi schemes that really left a mark, we have to mention the case of Kwon. There was the Anchor protocol, which at the time offered returns of up to 20% per year. Some people in the crypto community even called Anchor protocol the bank of cryptocurrency. But honestly, from the very beginning, you had to wonder, what kind of business was Anchor Protocol actually doing with the UST deposits to be able to pay investors 20% returns per year? That already sounds suspicious, right? In reality, they weren't really investing the money in anything substantial. The focus was on using money from new investors who wanted that 20% return to keep building up the base of the pyramid. Kwon and the pyramid base, people who wanted the 20% would just keep depositing more and more money, and that money would be used to pay the earlier investors, right? Most of the time, pyramid schemes that manage to keep attracting lots of new victims do so because the people who got in early received a lot of returns, and they actually got those returns. Since the payouts were real, it spread by word of mouth. But like I said, if there isn't a real business model that can reasonably generate enough profit to pay out those dividends, then it's just a pyramid scheme. Using money from new people to pay the old ones is never sustainable. And then one day, the whole thing blew up. But we won't go into the details here. UST and the Anchor protocol on Luna collapsed, along with Kwon and Terra. At this point, I've given 3 examples. What all 3 cases have in common is the pattern of making money in a system called a Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme. The person at the very top has to be really good at creating an image, followed by the initial investors and then those who are convinced to believe in it. It continues as a pyramid. The way Ponzi schemes make money is by taking money from the base of the pyramid. All of the money is sent up to the top of the pyramid without any real business. There are no actual products or legitimate services that provide genuine economic value or can actually generate profit. When you look at the reality of the situation, Ponzi schemes don't have any of this. So a Ponzi scheme can only survive as long as the base continues to expand and grow. There have to be more and more new investors coming in all the time. If one day people start to sense that what this Ponzi scheme is doing is actually a Ponzi scheme, and word gets out and no new investors join, that's the day it will collapse. And the pyramid will collapse. The confusion that often happens is that the way Ponzi schemes make money looks a lot like another business called network marketing. But, and let me really emphasize the word but here, network marketing businesses have a quality ecosystem. Like I said, an ecosystem is basically a system for making a living, right? For example, you need to have products and services that are high quality enough to actually benefit People are willing to pay you gladly in exchange for the benefits they get from those products or services. Then your business can generate revenue and profit, which you can use to pay people working within your network. But a Ponzi scheme is not like that. A Ponzi scheme offers no real benefit at all, except for taking money from new people to pay the old ones. Got it? Let me say it again. The dividing line between a Ponzi scheme and network marketing is a real business. It's a way to make a living, and it has products and services that are genuinely useful, enough to make people want to pay for them, happy to pay for those quality products and services. But a Ponzi scheme doesn't have that. So building a network marketing business isn't easy. You can't just create one overnight. It takes time because business is business. And when we talk about business, it also requires a strong system, proper marketing, legal registration, and quality. It has to be able to generate real income and profit. So when someone tries to recruit you to do this or that, how do you tell if it's legit? It's not that hard, but it's not exactly easy either. The way to check is to really look and see if the products are genuinely high quality or not. Are the services really high quality or not? Honestly, it's not a waste of time at all to take a moment to check things out when someone tries to get you to invest in something. Don't just go with your feelings or beliefs. You know why? Because easy money or free money, no one is just going to hand that over to someone else.